On National Culture, written by Franz Fanon. It is a piece of essay from Fanon's The Wretched of the Earth. Fanon was a French West Indian psychiatrist, intellectual, and political philosopher. His works have inspired national liberation movements. On national culture is the fourth chapter of the book. Here in this chapter, Fanon coins the term the colonized intellectual. So, they are the cultured class within colonized countries who want the recognition for a national culture and its right to exist. The Wretched of the Earth was immediately banned in France after its publication, but his work was a turning point in social justice studies and critical theories. Sadly, he never got to see the impact his book created as he was diagnosed with leukemia around 1957 and passed away at the age of 36. The chapter starts with Sékou Touré, the Guinean president's quotes, saying, "One must be a living part of Africa in order to achieve real action of freedom, progressive happiness of Africa." Fanon explains how each generation must discover its mission and make their country move forward. The forefathers of the colonized did their best for the country. The historic mission of the oppressed is to sanction all the abortive attempts drowned in the rivers of blood. Fanon speaks about the claims of a nation, that is, the political party, hardly touches on the problems of legitimacy. In the first phase, colonialism tries to disarm national demands by putting forward their economic doctrines. Colonialism pretends to take certain measures like opening centers for the unemployed to delay the national consciousness for few years, but they cannot cheat the people for so long, so their project of economy and social reforms may not be taken seriously. Colonialism proves its inability to provide for the natives, and when it cannot feed, it takes up carterism. And it is impossible for the colonizer to transform itself into an unselfish program of aid and assistance. So, colonialism is incapable of providing material conditions to the colonized. Material benefits might make them forget their concern for dignity, but even this cannot be provided by the colonizers. So, in the name of social reforms, colonialism only sets a reign of terror. Next, who are the cultured individuals? The cultured individuals of the colonized race emerge from the offshoots of the political parties. They demand for a national culture and its existence. They take their stand by reviewing the past history, whereas politicians see only the present day events. The native intellectuals do not wish to join the cultured, but the aggressive response to the colonial theory of native as barbarians is not regarded by the dominant. The passionate native intellectuals defend the existence of their national culture, and they share an anxiety of being swamped into the Western culture. They feared they will lose their people identity and themselves. Next, Fanon discusses about the glorious history of the natives versus colonialism. The native intellectuals hot-headedly wish to renew the contact of the pre-colonial lives of their people. They desired to go back and delve deeper into the splendid era, and there was nothing to be ashamed of their past. There was only dignity, glory, and solemnity. The claim for a national culture not only rehabilitates a nation but also gives hope for a future national culture. Fanon, being a psychiatrist, examines how change is important in the natives. As colonialism not only empties the native's brain of all form and content, but also destroys, disfigures the past of the oppressed people, and that is done through dialectical significance. They created cultural estrangement and convinced the natives that colonialism comes to lighten their darkness, and if the settlers were to leave, the natives would fall back into barbarism, degradation, and bestiality. The colonizers portrayed themselves as a mother saving her perverse offspring from committing suicide and giving permission from all their evil instincts. Colonialism finds no differentiation in the blacks for them. They are all Negroes and savages. There is racialization of the thought when the colonizers say that natives' land is a vast continent of savages, riddled with superstitions, destined for contempt, weighed down by the curse of God, a country of cannibals, a Negro's country. So, the opposition of ideas, how Fanon explains, the last 20 years had no national literature but negritude literature. The poets of negritude did not stop in Africa. Black voices from all over the world sung together, and there was a common tie and a power that is identical. Fanon takes examples from Arab culture and civilization and their return to the famous Dar el-Islam of the 12th to 14th century. There is a lively national feeling among them, and not in Africa. Even so, the spontaneity of the African movement is not found in the Arab League. But men of culture in these colonized countries are all embracing and continental. So, what is this African culture?